How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you guys how to do a transmission oil and oil filter change on a 2003 Subaru Outback H6 3.0. Pretty simple, actually. I'm going to do a really quick video. So first step is right here. This right here is going to be the panel to your transmission oil filter. What you're going to want to do is move these two push pin clips that are going to be here, and then there's going to be another one right here too. So there's probably about 3 of them. Once you do that, bend this back, bend it back right. Once you bend it back, you're going to have complete access to your transmission oil filter. Now this pretty much just loosen, lefty loosey, righty tighty. You get the picture. It's going to be tight on there, so if you have an oil filter wrench, use that. If not, you can always use some of these channel locks, but if you do, be careful. If you do use them, just squeeze on it lightly. You don't want to crush the whole oil pan and create a disaster. If you're at the auto parts store, I don't suggest using this. It's very dangerous. Just get an oil filter wrench, but in my case I didn't have time, so I just used that. Or if you're strong, you can just loosen it by hand. Once you loosen it, oil is going to start sipping out. Make sure you grab your oil pan. I have it right there, but put your oil pan right here. It's going to start sipping out. And then once you do that, right, you'll get your new oil filter. And you're going to fill it with transmission fluid inside the oil filter. The type of transmission fluid it takes is dexron 3. You can get it at your local auto parts store. This is the one I got at Walmart. You don't have to get the same brand, but it's dexron 3. That's the one it takes for 2004 Subaru Outback. Just make sure you check on your certain vehicle. Make sure you have the correct oil. But on a 2004 Subaru Outback H6 3.0, it takes the dexron 3. Now back to this. Fill it with the transmission fluid all the way up. And then rub the O-ring with transmission fluid. Make sure it's nice and on there. Also make sure when you take off the old one that you remove the old O-ring. Somehow my O-ring was stuck on the mount, so make sure you take that off. That's very important because your new oil filter is already going to have one. Now this brand oil filter I got aftermarket, it's Purelator P1285. Picked that up at Pep Boys. Pretty cheap. That wasn't too bad, and I like using Purelator. So now I'm going to show you guys how to do the oil change on the transmission fluid. Okay, so we're back to where the transmission fluid goes. A quick tip: when you jack up the car, you can put the jack stand right there on that frame right there. That's part of the unibody. You'll be okay if you put that there. But I'm sure you guys know how to jack up the car. Back to the transmission fluid. That's your drain plug right there. Let me check what socket size. Okay, so the size on this, on the oil plug, that's going to be 17 millimeter. Pop that right in like so. Okay, so you're just going to take it off with a ratchet. I already loosened mine. Make sure you put your oil pan in position. One of the things I don't like about the Subaru design is that there's not enough space to fit a ratchet in a socket. I was trying to fit one of my regular size ratchets. Didn't work, so I had to use this skinny Duralast head. And I was able to fit right in there pretty good. Just remove that. Make sure you got it lined up. Oil pan. It's starting to come out. Alright, there it is. Voila. Now this car has about 60,000 miles, so that's about 60,000 miles worth of dirty oil inside the transmission fluid. Ooh, look at that, like a geyser. Let's try to control it like that. Okay, this is the transmission oil drain plug. I just want to let you guys know that what Subaru uses is what's called a crush washer. I'll try to show you guys it, get it out. Anyways, that's how it looks like. You can get these at your local auto parts store. I'm not going to replace mine because car only has 60,000 miles, and this is actually the first time the transmission fluid's being changed. So it looks like it's still good. But anybody that's, you know, has an older vehicle with some miles, I suggest getting these. Pretty cheap, probably like about $3, and you'll get a brand new one, because this right here prevents the your transmission oil from leaking. So it's kind of like a seal, basically. That's what it is. Okay, so the oil is pretty much drained in the transmission pan, so I'm just gonna put the bolt back inside. Another thing too I like to do is lubricate the threads. Put some oil on there. Keep it nice and lubricated. Careful, make sure that this goes in nice and straight. You don't want to strip the threads. That's the worst thing you can possibly do. At that point, you're gonna have to get a new transmission oil pan or rethread the actual threads inside. So that's already hand tightened all the way. Let's get your ratchet. Okay, so now it's time to tighten. And just tighten it till it's nice and snug. Right now it feels kind of snug. I'm gonna give it a quarter turn. Okay, so I tightened it. I give it, once it's snug, I give it another ½ inch turn. That should be good. Normally a lot of people would like to torque it down with a torque wrench. But in this case, it's nice and snug. It's not going to leak. And once you put the transmission fluid in, I'm definitely going to check for any leaks. But everything should be nice and good. Now they say that you want to refill the transmission fluid on a level surface. So what I'm going to do is remove the jack stand and lay the car on the ground. Okay, so the Subaru is on a level surface. Already removed the transmission dipstick. Let me show you guys where it's at. So this is where the transmission dipstick's going to be located at. Let me put that back in there. So as you can see, this is going to be down here on the driver's side towards the back of the firewall. To fill the transmission with tranny fluid, just remove it. Okay. Get yourself a funnel, something like this, kind of long, and then just pop it right in. See that right there? Pops right in. Okay, so I just filled the tranny fluid to the cold position on the dipstick. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start the car, leave it in park, let the fluid circulate, and then I'm going to put it through all gears: reverse, neutral, drive, first, second, and I'm going to leave it in those gears for about 30 seconds and then switch to the next one. That way you can get the fluid circling through all the gears and transmission and all that good stuff. So I'll get back to you on that. Okay guys, I already checked the tranny fluid at a normal operating temperature. I had it idling for a while. That's usually normal operating temperature. Okay, this should be normal fluid. So this is where it should be at, right there. But make sure that the fluid is right there when the engine, the transmission is at normal operating temperature. Because if you see right here, try to focus the camera. See, I think it's on the other side. Right here you can't really see it, but it says hot. That's where you want your fluid at, like right there. Now when it's cold, your fluid's gonna be right there. But when you fill it up, right, get it to right here when the engine's cold. Start up the engine, let it idle, leave it in park. Don't start driving it or anything. Leave it in park, let the engine warm up, car it all, okay? You don't want to burn out the transmission. And then once it's at normal operating temperature, check the fluid, and if you need to add more, make sure you add more to right here, this little hole right there. And make sure, like I said, when the engine is nice and warmed up at normal temperature, that's where the fluid should be at. But once you do the drain and fill with the transmission fluid, it takes 4 quarts. 4 quarts. And you guys will be good back on the road. Any questions, please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. You guys have a good day now. Bye-bye.